Well, we've got another Outstanding Shift podcast lined up for you with your host, Andrew Evans from Rosby Financial. I'm your producer, RJ Malik. And Andrew, how you doing today?
I'm wonderful, RJ. I think we've always made the comment before that I always say it's like, for those that know Mr. Rogers, I would always like to say, correct as usual, King Friday. But how many people even know what that is anymore?
Yeah, you're dating yourself.
I know.
Okay.
Call me Lady Aberlin.
So why don't you preview today's Outstanding Shift podcast and welcome your guests?
Absolutely. Thank you, RJ. So this is going to be interesting because this is the first we decided to do a couple of these with this wonderful group of folk. We have Zach Conway and Kelsey McKenna of Seeds. Seeds, an investment management platform for the new age. Well, let's make it really fun. For the future, for the children, for the future. And so we're gonna hit on a lot of great things about the psychological hits of investing, setting it up, where advisors trip up, how other providers maybe they still are doing things the way that they did them 30 years ago. So for this wonderful group, for Zach and Kelsey, we're gonna have some fun over maybe a few episodes. So welcome to the Outstanding Shift. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm excited.
Yeah, thank you so much. We're really excited to be here. We haven't done a podcast in a while, so we're I feel
a little rusty. By the way, I grew up on Mr. Rogers, so I respect and appreciate the reference.
You got
that. Now it's Daniel Tiger is the new version our kids are watching.
All respect to Daniel Tiger. All respect. They got some great stuff there. But for those of us that were like straight up OG, Mr. Rogers, it's like, no, that was pretty good. But unfortunately, our children can't. They watch the reruns, but it's not quite the same.
I know. I haven't tried that. I'm gonna introduce them to the original.
Pardon me. They should. It was wonderful. One of the best is like when he went to the. Sorry, this is totally when goes to the when he goes to the factories and watch people build things. Being from Pittsburgh myself and having the fact that Mr. Rogers truly was in my neighborhood. There was always something really great about that. But that being said, it's not about me today. It's not about Mr. Rogers, though he's always in our hearts and in our minds. But Zach, Kelsey, could you give us a little bio for those that don't know who you are or what you do or where you're coming from? Can you give us a little overview of who you are and what's up?
Yeah, Kelsey, you go first.
Okay.
Always ladies first.
Okay. Great. I'm Kelsey McKenna. I'm the COO of Seeds. I joined Zach here at Seeds about 3 years ago. Prior to that, I kind of started my career in the industry at eMoney. So my background is mostly in advisor tech of some sort and startups. And what else? I don't even give my bio that often, I guess. I'm a mom of 3 kids, 3 girls. And yeah, that's who I am. And I'm happy to be here today.
That's perfect. You should give your bio more.
I should give my bio more. Why is no one asking me for my bio? Where are all the people? You. I know you are now, but no one's asked me in like a year.
Let's
keep that more, just as a pop quiz. Yeah. Okay.
We'll dissect.
Zach will know his bio better. People ask for his.
No, it's always you always have to remember things about yourself. I also have 3 daughters. I'll start there because that's part of our parallel lives. Kelsey and I talk about all the time. I am the founder and CEO of Seeds. My background is as an advisor. So before starting the company, was working to help build and run an advisory firm, work with clients, and a lot of what I was learning and seeing and dealing with at the time is what ultimately led me to found Seeds. And so that's what I'm doing today.
Yeah, and Zach mentioned the parallel lives thing. Just a fun fact for everybody. We both were raised by financial advisors. So both of our dads are financial advisors as well. So it's how both of us came to the industry. Right. Fun fact.
Well, okay, but Kelsey, but where was your dad? And Zach, please, I think it's totally cool. You talk about the Conway name.
Yeah, my dad was just an advisor at LPL and he was a user of eMoney. And that is how I actually got recruited as one of the first people at eMoney's San Diego office. And the only reason I took the interview is because my dad was using the software. And I had kind of seen it from him. And I knew that he liked it. So yeah, that's
Was he Linsco, or was he private ledger, or was he truly LPL?
I think truly LPL. But watch,
Okay.
I'm going to get that wrong, which would be really embarrassing.
No,
I
no,
should
no,
know my
no,
own
no.
dad. Yeah. He's retired now, so he's now just playing music all over San Diego and living his dream.
Yeah,
So we really don't
about
talk about the industry that much anymore.
Okay.
But we used to.
Yeah, we'll bring him in one day. Right?
Yeah.
Zach?
My dad's still in it. He started in 1984. He started his career for about either 6 months or a year doing insurance sales, and realized he didn't love doing that and wanted to be sort of more involved in people's, the bigger picture, their complete financial and personal lives. And this whole concept of financial planning back then, had existed for a couple of decades, but it hadn't really gone fully mainstream. And so, he started a business and really leaned into that concept of holistic financial planning. I told him for years, I'm not going to be joining him in that business, and I'm going to go to school and go do my own thing, which I did for a little bit. And then ultimately, it made sense to go join him. Basically, the long story short on that is I had a lot of opinions in my corporate job that, my bosses rightfully didn't have any interest in listening to.
Yep.
But this idea that I could sort of be entrepreneurial and, where improvements in the business for the sake of the customer, I could control in some meaningful way, became exciting after a couple of years in the corporate world. And so he got me to join. And I think at this point, 12 or 13 years I've been part of that wealth business, and then the last 4.5-5 years in Seeds.
Excellent. Well, I think that's a really great segue, because for both of you to then we'll talk about let's talk about Seeds and get the framework there, and because it sounds to me that you're just a corporate malcontent.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just what you are. And so what better way to be an entrepreneur than to start something different, or see where there's errors or where things are not going right, and then to bring in the people around you that can take that idea and take that process and then elevate it from their own from what they've experienced, like Kelsey. But here's the question. Okay, so here at the Outstanding Shift, what we're trying to do is find ways that, little nuggets, diamonds of information that people can take and then help them shift perspective, shift attitude, shift activity to help them become outstanding in what it is they want to achieve. So, and we come at it a little bit different, is I'd say you're going to tell us about Seeds, but as you're talking about Seeds, tell us why it's so awful. What are we getting so wrong right now in, let's say, investment management or client engagement that has caused yins, as we say from Pittsburgh, that has caused yins to make this wonderful new advancing platform? Why is everything so terrible? What is it? How do we make it better?
It's very exciting that to be the jumping off point. Kelsey, you want me to dive into it, or
did I shock you? That's what we do. Why is everybody awful but you?
This is the perfect question for the founder of a startup in this space to answer, but I will give my version of an answer after you. I'll see what you say first.
Okay. So to your point on the corporate world thing, I did always have this instinct to want to pick things apart and see how they could be better. And I think my dad instinctively thinks the same way and always does, and was always trying to move the needle in how to run an advisory business. But I was just sort of lucky in that I had fresh eyes on a thing that he had built over a 40-year career. So being able to jump into that and see what he had created across all aspects of the business, right? In terms of holistic financial planning, all the services within that, what was consistent that I saw that was, perceived as the most valuable thing to the customer was his ability to really deeply understand people through discovery and deep conversations and building trust, and then connecting that to the solutions. And like, that is the essence of a client experience: is who are you? What's important to you? What are your issues? How do you want to be served? What do you want the experience to look like? And then how do you shape all of that experience around that understanding? So I sat in the room and watched him really do that capably with people who were becoming our customers, except up until the point the conversation got to the investment management part of our services. And all of a sudden, I always talk about this sort of like switch moment in the room from deep discovery, deep understanding, conversation, mapping that to solutions, to now I'm jumping to the solutions. So in other words, rather than understanding you as an investor, if I'm going to be managing your money as an investor, I'm not going to actually unpack that and really understand what's in your head about what that means and how you think about that. I'm going to sell you. I'm going to talk to you about how we manage money and why we're so smart in managing money and how many credentials we have and years of experience and what products we use, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So it went from like this compelling discovery conversation to I'm pitching and I'm selling you on why I'm so smart in this particular part of what we do as an advisor. So I would say that isn't just true in our business and what I saw 5 years ago in our own wealth business. I think that is broadly true across the industry, that sort of paradox still happens. So that's one piece, the experience side. The other piece that I think that sucks, to your question, is getting the fundamentals right, actually doing this well. And rather than, saying we're going to generate alpha and then not doing it, it's not to say you can or should be trying to generate alpha, but the actual fundamental aspects of investment management that are important: goals-based portfolio construction, making sure you're building, portfolios in a tax efficient way, making sure you're doing things like tax loss harvesting, trading optimally across portfolios and not sort of rebalancing randomly when you feel like it one day before a review meeting. There are, these fundamental aspects of what it means to do investment management well that have nothing to do with alpha generation or, salesiness. So anyway, that's maybe a long answer to your question, but to sum it up, it was the experience sucks, and it shouldn't, because the customer values this discovery flow. So why aren't we just doing it that way? And the fundamentals suck too. We're not all consistently doing this well. And I'm sure we'll get to this, but as consumers' expectations of those two components increase, we think it's really, really important that we try to solve both sort of simultaneously. So I'll pause there. That's my answer.
All right. So that's your answer. Now, Kelsey, give us the right answer.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
that's usually how this goes, by the way. If I go first,
I'm gonna.
Well, but that's good.
Why I go first.
that is very similar to what I'm gonna say, but I'm gonna say something in a different way as to why we broadly suck, I guess, if that works, Andrew.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Well, as we all know, you never really want the founder pitching the tech demo. So let's
no.
No. All in good fun. On good.
No, I'm just joking. That is this is kind of one of the reasons I think that we've gotten to the spot as an industry of what Zach is describing, which I completely agree with. I will say, I think what's unique about this industry and that is causing it to do worse from an experience perspective and a satisfaction and even stuff like organic growth you hear about is there's this weird desire in this industry to compartmentalize everything. So here's our experience. This is our experience. This is who's in charge of experience, and this is what happens there. This is our operations. This is how operations work, and this is what operations mean. And we have people who are in charge of that and who work in that area. This is planning. Planning is this thing over here, and this is investment management over here. And then you have all these tech products and solution consultants and all this stuff that has been built up around these different compartments almost. Oh, and compliance is over here. And, you've got all those back office compartments as well. So we have all these compartments and then all these vendors and people who have come in to try to solve pain points within all of those different areas and make people more efficient. Of course, being super flexible because no one can agree on what's the right way to do any of these things within these compartments. So it just has created a situation where it's very, very difficult to, I think, start and run and build a business that is creating a very meaningful, differentiated experience, because it's almost like open everything, but then nothing is connected. And it's not just a matter of data integration. It's a matter of just how we're even thinking about and strategizing and implementing tactics across all these different areas that we're in our brains even are just these separate things. I worked in the planning tech industry and now I'm in the investment tech or wealth tech industry. Like, and those two sides are like totally different stories and histories and all that stuff, and then I'm selling to an advisor who's also thinking in these compartments, even though they're trying to deliver a really cohesive experience that's backed by scalable operations that they can layer people into, et cetera. So I have a lot of opinions about this, but in general, that's what I would highlight is just like it sucks because it's not being thought of as a cohesive thing, and the solutions are not being built to solve cohesive problems, I think.
And
Yeah. Go ahead.
Can I, just to add, like, even if you just zoom in on the financial planning disconnected from investment management part of what Kelsey just laid out. So you have all these different components that aren't interconnected typically, but even that part, zooming in on that part, to us is an existential industry problem alone, just right there. This concept that I'm a planning led firm, I do financial planning for my client, but I don't even know necessarily what that means as it relates to investment management or how investment management is going to be expressed within the context of holistic financial planning. That's a problem, right? We still have this paradigm of either I'm selling investment management as my one and only, value prop, and I'm going to generate alpha, or I consider it so commoditized that I'm not even going to really offer it, or if I do, it's sort of half done and not compelling, and I'm not really getting the fundamentals right. The end consumer knows that this is bad over here and this is bad over here. So if you're not actually putting investment management within the context of the financial plan and getting those fundamentals right, which I think is broadly a problem across the industry, that alone within that larger disconnectedness Kelsey's articulating is a big deal that I think we need to solve.
Yeah. When you're talking through that disconnect, and as I my mind's eye opens up to everything that we do, and then let's say I solidify it, you then end up somebody saying like, well, I tell you what, we'll just close it all down and do one thing. Say like how the wirehouse did, like, you can only do this. Okay, well, operationally, now you're hitting everything, but now, I mean, how many advisors do we know, or how many clients have we worked with that came from that space that are like, wait a minute, I mean, you can, if I leave UBS, like, oh wait, I can do better tax strategies with you. They don't let me do that. Or, well, wait a minute, I have, this will sound very big, like, a client coming in like, well, geez, I'm not treated that well, but I have $5 million. Can you help me? Sure. Like, yeah, but like over there, it's like, nah, it's fine. There's not a lot there. So it's like you trade over there, even though you have a cohesive operational process to do those things, you have given up flexibility, or let's say a true customization, or really hitting the need of the client. You're really just saying like, nope, this is what it is. The tech person and our compliance office and the shareholders have decided, nope, this is what it is. That's it. Yeah. But then you go the other way and you go to one of the major independents where they let you do kind of like anything. All right. Now that's probably harder, because now it's the advisor who has to now figure out, well, what do I do? And I think like this is bad. This wirehouse side, like that's just stifling. But then over here, this is paralysis, because now there's too much. Because to your point, Kelsey, is like, okay, well, here's investment management. Let's say here's insurance planning. Here's financial planning. Here's the compliance group. But then bring up the tech map of Kitsy's, like everything has 1,000 things around it you can pick, and nobody is coming in and saying, well, hey, if you just kind of bridge this gap here, you bridge this gap here. It's just not happening.
Well, I think a lot of this is there's a lack of coaching around, like, especially I think in the independent side, around like just general service offering creation and then business building around it. Basically, like, how do you actually operationalize your offering? It kind of, what I've seen at least, people just kind of stumble into it. So they have their first few clients, and those first few clients want these few things, and you close them and you're learning, but then you're not stepping back and a critical moment of growth saying, okay, I'm actively deciding that this is my offering, I always like to think of it in 3 layers. So there's what is the offering itself, and that is like, what services are we providing? How, like in general, what are the options? Like, how much does it cost? So the packaging up of those services that you can deliver in a way that is meaningful and that you have the credibility to deliver and that people want from you, right? That's one layer. Then there's the experience layer, which is how is my client experiencing that? So what are all of the touch points across that journey to deliver those services to the client? That's the second layer. And the third layer is the operations, which I would include people, process, tech, systems, all of that behind the scenes that needs to happen to make sure that you can consistently deliver that experience. So there are different growth phases where different things matter more. But if you think of it like that, then it becomes more like you shouldn't be building based on the tech available on the Kitsy's map. You should be building that services offering in a thoughtful way based on who you're trying to sell to. And then you should design an experience that is relevant and that is going to feel good to them, is going to feel easy, is not going to feel frictionful. It's going to deliver value early on major pain points that will bring them in the door, right? And then how do we operationalize it? That becomes critical once you can actually get the wheel turning. And how are people going to layer into this? What's our special sauce? What's our framework? How do we connect investment management to financial planning? Why is that the way we do it? Like, those are the questions to answer so that the founder, typically the founding advisor, can then say, this is how I've been doing it, and this is what we need to make better. And then you loop back. Now we're updating our service offering, we're updating our experience, we're updating our ops, and it's kind of that loop.
Kelsey, the way that you're saying that, though, and I hear the souls of thousands and thousands of advisors saying, God, it sounds so complicated. I think what I'll do is I'll just hire, I just won't, I'll just pick it up as I go along.
Yeah.
But I think that, like this, like, oh, God, do all that.
Yeah. They
I'll
probably shouldn't
just
be
drop a
building
ticket.
it. Drop a
Right.
ticket.
So,
Yeah.
Like, so what, and on your own podcast, because you guys have a podcast, so we can pitch that right now. Here, quickly plug your podcast for when it comes back on. It is called
The Advice Business Podcast. You can find it at useeds.com.
There you go. Okay. So I want you to pitch your thing. It's great. Yeah, I listen to it.
Thank
It's great.
you.
But even on there, I remember a couple episodes back, we had actually then followed up about this, is that a lot of advisors are, I don't think afraid is the word. They're just not in a position to stand up a
Mhm.
minimum viable product that is a new service process, because they just don't want to upset their apple cart of the revenue that's flowing in. They just don't want to take a chance doing it because they don't want it to go wrong, or they're like, that's a lot of work. What I'm doing, I have Redtail and I put assets at Schwab and I hit the button at iRebow, and okay, that's good. I just don't want to mess with anything.
Yeah.
But what I'm driving at here is that it's the words. Listen to the words, because the words you say seem daunting, but it's really not. It's not that hard to build your SOP, to build that process, to then stand it up, look for iterations, make changes, start again, and build it. So if somebody's in that situation, like, they're going to be listening to this, because obviously we have, it's the three of us, our two podcasts, and Joe Rogan, and
Absolutely.
and dropping names with Brent Spiner and Jonathan Frakes. Those are the only 4 podcasts anybody listens to, right? But everybody's going to hear this, and we're going to tell them, Kelsey, what's the easy way to get start into that?
Well, I'm going to bring up 2 things that Zach and I talk about a lot, and probably to the point where people get annoyed. But one is, know who you are trying. Well, no, I'm going to say that one second. Know where you're going. One of the biggest issues, like that situation you just described, we have Redtail, we have this, we hit rebalance and iRebow, we do this and that. Absolutely. If you are not trying to change anything or grow or scale anything or whatever, if you have a lifestyle business and you are happy, and maybe you have like one other person on your team and you're going to eventually transition your book to them and you have a plan, absolutely. Don't change things for the sake of changing them. Don't change things because you feel like, I guess, just because you feel like you listen to something and you think you should be like updated with the times. If your clients are happy and you're happy, like, no pressure. This is really more for, I think, people, and selfishly, one of the reasons I wanted to join Seeds is I think that this industry will it would be made so much better if more really high quality independent advisors who are running their own businesses are able to kind of take what they're doing really well and scale it up to more people. And there's just a lack of like education, I think, on how other industries do that. How do startups scale their services? How do you bootstrap, a bootstrap startup? How does that work? How do we get to a point where we can deliver service offerings through people other than the founder? Like, so a lot of the things that I've learned in startup land are tied into this, I guess, because I'm kind of looking at these founders that I work with all the time who are amazing and who are delivering really high quality experiences and really high quality offerings as themselves, but they can't get past that first like growth hurdle, which is now what? Like, I'm constrained. I have too many clients and I have more interest, but I can't fulfill that interest, or I don't know how to generate more interest, either one. So there's that. And then there's know who you're selling to, which will narrow it down. So if you're just like whomever walks by with a pulse and money is my customer, you will end up with a service offering that is like way crazy and that you can't scale and that is like all over the place, right? So that's the other thing I see that's missed a lot, is just like eventually saying this is what's unique, whether it's a type of person or a specific niche or a certain need, what is it? And that's going to narrow it down so that you're not trying to scale like 30 different offerings as a one person firm,
Yeah. So Zach, being the founder, and obviously before we go, because we don't have unlimited time, we're going to do a few more of these. We're going to do a few more of these because these are good. But with our time that we have left, we have a little bit more than 5 minutes. As the founder, what is it that you are doing? So we have to talk about what exactly Seeds is doing, but then tell us what was the click in your head to say, I've got something. However, I can't just do it here. I'm a malcontent and my dad's not listening to me and we could do better, right? And he's like, I'm going to fire you. Just go start your company already, for God's sake. Something like, I assume the conversation was something like that.
I will give him credit. He agreed with, self-identifying the own issue in our own business, and agreed to your question that it wasn't unique to us. So that was really the jumping off point of, hey, as we look across our peers, even within our own business and within our larger RIA, and then more broadly across the industry, this 2-layer problem is not unique to us. The fact that this is the experience around investment management, even when we're saying it's part of the broader financial planning service we're providing, and the way we're operationalizing it, both are terrible. You would think at least one would be good. We would talk about at the time, maybe if the experience to the consumer around investing and the way they perceive the value of it was really strong, and then it was an operational burden, maybe we could live with that, or the inverse, but it was both. And so needing to for sure solve it for ourselves, but hey, maybe there's a bigger opportunity here to deliver it more broadly across the industry.
And give us the overview.
What is it?
What is it?
What
is this thing? What is this thing we're sort of talking about? Yeah. So in trying to solve both, I'll sort of walk through the full flow of the experience and back in the seat of that moment of discovery again, right? So I'm an advisor. I am going to do financial planning for you, my prospective client. And therefore, I'm asking lots and lots of questions about who you are and what's important to you and how you think about the future and your family dynamics, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But also through Seeds, I want to really deeply understand you as an investor. How do you think about investing? What does it mean to you? The one thing, quick sort of aside, and part of why we think this is important, broad financial planning delivers so much value. And sometimes we discount and sort of think it's so commoditized, this investment management part. And we don't want to really focus on delivering a good experience around it, because why should we? The reason is, when someone gives a financial advisor their $1 million retirement account, even if we're delivering all these broad, deeper financial planning deliverables, the psychology of that is really, really important, right? The trust required to say, I'm giving you my money to put at risk in capital markets is not the same as I'm going to pay you a few $1,000s to give me some financial planning outputs that I may or may not pay attention to and actually, take your advice on. So if we're doing it, the psychology is that it's, we need to build trust and create that experience and have them value it. So anyway, in the discovery, being able to assess through the Seeds platform who that investor is, how they think about investing, what's important to them. Do they want to see values brought to life? Do they have thematic interests that they want to see in their portfolio or talk about? What are their goals? What is their tax situation? What is the complete picture of this person as an investor? Because I'm learning all these other things about you. I should know that because that part's so critical to what we're going to do together. And then through our assessment experience, that ties to a personalized portfolio outcome. If I really deeply understand you as an investor, and I know what you're trying to accomplish and what your values are and these thematic interests, here's your portfolio, right? Here's the automatically constructed portfolio that reflects all of those inputs. And here's how I'm going to talk to you about it because I now know these things about you. So I used to, my dad and I used to, here's the products we use, and here's the static PDF proposal of all the same, outputs and metrics in the 20-page PDF document that every person would have to listen to us talk about. I want to build a portfolio through the system that's right for you and tell you the story about it that's right for you as well. That's the experience layer. And then I want to be able to press go. So I want to be able to press implement and eliminate all these friction points in a workflow where I'd be handing scribble notes to our CFA who would go construct the portfolio with all these disparate models and different product solutions and try to decide, are we using this outsourced manager? Are we using these models? Or how are we building this thing? But have it automatically construct, press implement, and have it traded. The idea that I, as an advisor, by the way, we're talking about advisor, part of the issue is there's a lot to get right in building a business and doing holistic financial planning and doing investment management. There's a lot you have to get right. Mm-hmm. And so why are we adding be a trader to the list? The thing that literally provides the lowest, essentially no value to the end client for me as the advisor or even an internal team spending time deciding when and how to do rebalances and how to raise cash and when to do tax loss harvesting and all of these fundamental things behind the scenes. I should spend zero time on that. I want to press a button.
It's not that it provides no value. It provides a lot of value if you do it right, but it doesn't need to be done by the relationship owner.
Yeah, exactly. It's a good call out. Me doing it as the advisor specifically doesn't provide value.
It actually often worse.
And by the way, the other sort of additional point to that is we weren't doing it optimally. So there's sort of two pieces to it, right? It's one, I'm spending the time doing it, or my team is doing it, and the client outcomes are worse, right? We're not rebalancing consistently. It's the things I touched on at the beginning. We're maybe doing tax loss harvesting once in a while. We're raising cash in totally different ways every time. The amount of times, we were just at a conference talking about the future of the industry. The amount of times I heard advisors talk about account level trading. I've got a review meeting coming up, so I'm going to rebalance for them. They're not in a model framework. The sort of Frankenstein of models across a book of business, those are bad outcomes for the customer. So it's not only am I spending the time doing it, I'm doing it not as well as it should be happening for the client. So we want to take that pain away to both the advisor and the end client. And so that's sort of the back office solution of Seeds as a platform as well. We automate all of those mechanics behind the scenes.
And I think that's a great overview, but we're going to save the more details for the next episode. So we're gonna do another one. Now we'll get more into the in-depth pieces of exactly what it is that you go through to get that. How do you get your business into that? As we said before, Kelsey set up saying, okay, you got to do but then it's Seeds is going to help you get to that point. You just got to do some other work. So we'll do that on the next one, and we'll start to expand this more. But we won't have to do bios next time. We already did that. Okay, so we already did that. We already got the background. We already know that Zach's he's the malcontent, and Kelsey is the best mom in the world.
I want to be the malcontent. I feel like I am disgruntled enough to be classified as this. That's why I'm in startups. I can't work for a big company because it's too crawl up the walls,
That's right. Angsty. So
I'm angsty. So
I'm very
tune
angsty.
in.
So
Okay.
yeah. Tune in for the angst.
Tune in
We're
for the
getting more
angst next time. Yeah.
We're
I'll
going to
bring
get
more angst.
mouthy.
Yeah.
How about that?
Watch
I know
out.
that's always been my problem when I was in the corporate world and everything. Is that I'm too mouthy. I like to have my opinion.
I have never been
don't
mouthy.
like
Zach can attest that's I'm just that
You
would
being
never
sarcastic?
happen. No.
It might be.
Okay.
So we'll so let's shut down for now. Let's pick it back up on our next episode. This is great because we're going to talk more about the experience and the fundamentals suck. I think we might start there next time. Also,
like it.
I'm hyper offended that neither one of you wanted to comment on my new glasses.
I commented when you weren't recording. Bring the mustache. Next time I'm expecting full 70s glasses, mustache, the whole thing.
We'll add the B-roll into the episode.
Yeah, add the
We
B-roll.
should.
for the record.
Cut that in
Okay.
for the record.
Drop the tape. We're doing it.
Okay, but before you go, how about some contact info? We'll start with Kelsey first.
Yeah. You can find me on LinkedIn. Connect with
You
me
can
there.
call me on my
Message
cell
me.
phone.
Yeah. Yeah. DM me. You can also find us at useseeds.com. You can email hello@useseeds.com. Seeds is plural. And we can, give it to you guys for the show notes if that works too.
Okay, Zach, and your contact info?
Same. Find me on LinkedIn, useeds.com. That's where we are.
Sounds good. Andrew, your contact info?
You know what? I'll kick it around with the gang. I'll say, come find me on LinkedIn. Come look at all the fun things we're doing. Come meet some of our new staff members that we've just brought on. Just brought on a new CEO, brought on a new COO, a new director of marketing. So we got a lot of fun things going on both platforms, the R Office and the Rosby Financial. Come find me there. Give me a call, 321-209-0157. Hit me up.
Thank you, and most importantly, thank you for listening to the Outstanding Shift podcast. If you have not subscribed to the podcast, please click the subscribe button below. This way, when Andrew and his team comes out with a new podcast, it will show up directly on your listening device. And we humbly ask you to share this podcast, rate it, and leave a review, because this actually helps others find it. Again, thank you for listening, and for Andrew, I'm RJ Malik, and we look forward to you joining us for the next Outstanding Shift podcast.
Thank you for listening to The Outstanding Shift. Don't forget to hit the follow button to be notified when new episodes become available. Visit our websites at www.roffice.team, www.rosbyfinancial.com, or give us a call at 321-209-0111. The information provided in this video is for informational purposes only and does not constitute investment advice or a recommendation to buy or sell any security. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Past performance is not indicative of future results. You should consult a qualified financial professional before making any investment decisions.